From stories across the world to stories here at home, this is the National News Broadcast. A very good evening to you. I'm Nitya Delivera.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Charita Minipurarachi, and let's move on to the headlines for tonight's news.
728,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccines from Japan. The second AstraZeneca immunization program begins tomorrow. A circular relating to normalization in conducting state services has been released. Preliminary investigations into the second post-mortem on the remains of child Ishalini have been completed. Maximum contributions from state and public media to enhance children's education in the face of the COVID pandemic. The UNICEF organization praises measures taken by Sri Lanka for appropriate conducting of education amid COVID expansion.
On to those and other stories in detail now, and starting off with local stories. 728,460 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine were brought to the island from Japan this afternoon. An aircraft which left the Narita airport carrying the consignment of vaccines has reached the Katunayake International Airport. The Japanese ambassador in Sri Lanka, Sujiyama Akira, has handed over the stock of vaccines to the Health Ministry today. A group including Ministers Pavitra Vanyarachi, Dinesh Gunawardena, State Minister Professor Channa Jayasumana and President Senior Advisor Lalit Veeratunga was at the airport to receive the stock of vaccine. It has been decided to inoculate 490,000 vaccines out of the stock and the second dose to the persons who have received the AstraZeneca vaccine as their first dose. The remainder is planned to be deployed in the inoculation program in the Kegol district. The Ministry of Health says a further consignment of 727,380 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine are scheduled to be brought to the island on next Saturday.
Today we have received 728,000 doses of AstraZeneca as a donation from Japan through the COVAX program. This is the first half of 1.45 million doses donation from the Japan. From tomorrow morning we are going to start the vaccination process. We are giving priority for the people who have already obtained their first dose of AstraZeneca, and the rest of the doses will be sent to Kegol district to initiate the vaccination process there. So on behalf of the government of Sri Lanka, people of Sri Lanka and His Excellency the President of Sri Lanka, we would like to thank Japan government, the people of Japan, and also to the COVAX facility to send us this donation. The progress of vaccination program is very good in Sri Lanka. For the last 2 days we have given more than 1 million doses of vaccines. This is the highest rate of vaccination in any country in the globe. So we are very happy to announce that Sri Lanka is leading the COVID-19 vaccination program in the world.
As a long-time friend of Sri Lanka, it is a great honor to provide through the COVAX facility 1.45 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccines manufactured in Japan to further bolster the vaccination program of Sri Lanka. We believe that this first batch delivered today, which is about 728,000 doses, will help the Sri Lankan friends who have been waiting for the second dose of AstraZeneca vaccination. In addition, Japan has also provided grant assistance and technical cooperation in the amount of $16.2 million so far, assist Sri Lanka's fight against the COVID-19, which cover, among other things, provision of medical equipment, improving the cold chain system, and assistance to the returned migrant workers. Japan will continue to stand in solidarity with Sri Lanka in fighting against the COVID-19. Last but not least, I would like to thank the WHO and UNICEF for their help in making this delivery possible.
It is very encouraging to witness a consignment of AstraZeneca vaccines are received today, which will prevent our fellow citizens from death and critical illness due to COVID-19. Continuous vaccine supply is urgently needed to combat the current situation and to materialize the government's effort to increase the vaccine coverage. We are thankful to the government of Japan for providing this vaccine, which is much needed for the moment to mitigate the disease burden of the country. Let me appreciate government of Japan and its people for the generosity. Also, with the same spirit, I want to mention that WHO and UNICEF have been supporting throughout Sri Lanka related to COVID-19 epidemic response. And on behalf of the government of Sri Lanka, my sincere gratitude to WHO and UNICEF is hereby expressed. With all our support and with all your support, we are going ahead with combating COVID-19 transmission. With your partnership, I am confident that we effectively overcome the challenges imposed by the pandemic situation. I appreciate your support once again.
Now, the Acting Director General of Health Services, Dr. Hemant Herath, says that all state officials should continue to follow health guidelines appropriately.
This consignment will be used to give the second dose of AstraZeneca vaccine for those who have received the first dose, especially in the Western province. And the remaining stock will be given to another district, depending on the plan arranged by the Ministry of Health. And also, we would like to urge everyone, even though Western province, all three districts in Western province have almost reached the 100% mark compared to the estimated eligible population. We know that there are a large number of people who have not yet received their vaccine, and for different reasons. And I would like to urge everyone to get their vaccination as early as possible, because what we have seen, although we have reached the 100% mark in these districts, we have given vaccines to many other persons who are temporarily residing in these areas. So therefore, when we compare the targets compared to the estimated population, might be getting a false sense of security by seeing these statistics, as we have seen that a large number of or considerable number of people are yet to get the vaccine. So I would like to urge everyone to go to the nearest vaccination center and get the vaccine. And also those who have expected to get the first dose, probably by now they may have faced a situation where when you go to get the first dose, they might be turned away by telling that today we are giving only the second dose, so come on another day. But this will be changed as decided by the Ministry of Health. From Monday onward, you are supposed to get either first dose or second dose depending on the requirement, for which required vaccines will be available. So therefore, please contact the nearest medical officer of health of your area, get a time and date, and without any rush, go to those places and get the vaccine.
And the Sri Lanka Army Medical Corps will engage in the AstraZeneca vaccination program at 8 centres tomorrow. These centres are the Vihara Mahadevi Park, Colombo, Bodhirajarame in Panagoda, the Army Hospital in Narahempita, the Army Medical Task Force Camp in Werahara, Diyatha Uwenapattaramulla, Kirillavala Central College, Kadawatha, Dharmaloka College, Kalaniya, and the Maristala College, Negombo. The second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine is scheduled to be delivered in several centres, including the Vihara Mahadevi Park. The epidemiology unit says the number of COVID vaccines given yesterday amounted to 513,741. A special feature has been the delivery of 1,028,571 vaccines in the past 2 days. 442,523 have been given the first dose of the Sinopharm vaccine yesterday. The second dose of the same vaccine has been given to 66,219 yesterday. 4,999 have been given the first dose of the Pfizer vaccine yesterday. In the last 7 days, 2,998,210 doses of vaccines have been delivered to the people. The total number of vaccines so far given amounted to 11,768,810. The percentage of persons received at least one dose of a vaccine of the population more than 30 years of age has increased to 83.78. The highest number of vaccine doses has been given in the Western province, which is 89.11. At least one dose of vaccine has been given to 93.78% in the Gampaha district, 86.94% in the Kalutara district and 83.20% in the Colombo district. The highest number of vaccine doses has given to the Matale district. At least one vaccine dose has been given to 97.84% in the Kandy district, 84.86% in the Duarele district, 82.21% in the Badula district, 87.93% in the Polonnaruwa district, 80.68% in the Galle district, 87.29% in the Matara district, 94.26% in the Hambantota district and 80.12% in the Mana district. The inoculation program was carried out successfully today as well at 316 centres in 22 districts. Vaccination of staff between the age of 18 to 30 years in the Pallekele Investment Promotion Zone in Kandy was also conducted today. Minister Dr. Kele Rambukwella has inspected the program. Meanwhile, Vadamarachi North Gramanidahari division in the Jaffna district was removed from isolation. 2,150 COVID-19 patients were detected from the country today. Meanwhile, 1,906 patients left the hospital today following recovery. The police says that 93 persons taken into custody during the last 24 hours for violating quarantine regulations. Accordingly, a total of 52,719 persons have been arrested thus far for such violations. And meanwhile, the Ministry of State Services, Provincial Councils and Local Government has issued a circular for the maintenance of normal public service with effect from the 2nd of next month, subjected to health guidelines, and accordingly all relevant circulars pertaining to performance of duties from home based on the convening of the employees through a limited staff of rotating basis for the controlling of the spread of the COVID-19 disease will be abolished with effect from the 1st of next month. However, with the normalization of state services, the guidelines provided by the Ministry of Health for the health protection of government officials and the general public will be continuously implemented. The circulars adds that heads of institutions are also being entrusted with the responsibility of the provision of services in a manner to prevent the affliction of the COVID-19 disease of the institutional staff as well as on state recipients. Regular procedures will have to be followed with regard to the leave of government officials from the 2nd of next month. The circular further points out that if any government official has been subjected to quarantine under quarantine regulations or such a person has been subjected to quarantine not as a punishment for the violation of quarantine laws of the government, that is the entire quarantine period of the official should be regarded as a duration with full salary provisions. State Minister of Transport Dilum Amunugama says that bus and train transport in between provinces will be recommenced from tomorrow. State Minister Dilum Amunugama said that they hope to activate timetables especially during the working hours from tomorrow. The State Minister added that they are expecting to operate normal timetables on behalf of those who have returned to their homes in the evening after reporting to work in the morning. Only 25% of the interim operations have been suspended. Accordingly, 75.7% of the timetables will become operative.
Now, Deputy Director of the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital, Dr. Chandana Vijayasinghe, says that preliminary activities in the second post-mortem of the child Ishalini has revealed that she died while engaging in domestic service at the residence of Rishad Badiuddin. The inquiry has commenced at the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital around 8:30 a.m. this morning. The remains of the child were exhumed for a fresh post-mortem inquiry on the orders of the Colombo Additional Magistrate Rajendra Jayasuriya. The medical specialists who took part in the second post-mortem were Professor in Judicial Medicine of the Colombo University, Jean Pereira, Senior Lecturer in the Department of Judicial Medicine of the Medical Faculty of the Colombo University, Dr. Samira Gunawardena, and Specialist JMO of the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital, Dr. Prabhat Senasinghe. Initially, the corpse was subjected to a CT scan test. The objective was to find out the presence of any internal wounds or bone fracturing. Samples have been taken from different parts of the dead body. They are scheduled to be subjected to chemical testing. Police media spokesman Senior DIG Ajit Rohana says that a comprehensive report is scheduled to be provided upon completion of relevant examinations. The body of the victim is scheduled to be placed in the mortuary of the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital until delivery of the full report. Police media spokesman Senior DIG Ajit Rohana says further investigations are being conducted in line with recommendations of the post-mortem report. Meanwhile, a protest was held in front of the tea factory of the Hatta and Dikoi plantation this morning. The agitators have urged the authorities to extend maximum punishment to suspects in custody. They lit candles in memory of late Shalini. A similar protest campaign was conducted at Padai's plantation in Hatton this morning. The workers were seen joining the agitation wearing black armbands, demanding justice. Several civil organizations have also organized protests in the Bandaravela town this afternoon, requesting to impose stringent punishment on those found guilty for the death of the child.
And meanwhile, the UNICEF organization commends the measures taken by the Sri Lanka government to maintain the education of the children of the country amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. The organization further says that the program being conducted in Sri Lanka to safeguard the educational rights is most praiseworthy. The UNICEF website says that Sri Lanka has commenced a program to educate the children at a time when schools remain closed due to the pandemic. Such an event has taken place at a time when education opportunities have been deprived for children in many countries in the world. The UNICEF further appreciates the measures taken to deploy numerous online teaching methods in this regard. Representative of the UNICEF organization Emma Brigham said at a recent discussion that her organization continues to extend fullest support to Sri Lanka's educational program.
Now, in the meantime, heads of state and private media have expressed agreement to extend maximum contribution at this moment to uplift education of children. The media chiefs have also pointed out that numerous educational programs have been added to the learning process of children. The agreement was reached at a discussion conducted at the Ministry of Mass Media yesterday, focusing on the contributions extended via mass media for children's education. The meeting was held under the leadership of Ministers Kehelia Rambukwala, Professor G.L. Peris and also State Minister Susil Premajayantha. Minister Dr. Kehelia Rambukwala said that, taken as a whole, the future of the world relies upon the children of today. There's been tremendous interest on the welfare of children at every cabinet as well as parliamentary group meetings. There must be a program to carry forward education without collapsing at a time when schools remain closed.
සම්බන්ධව මේ ඇති වෙලා තියෙන තත්ත්වයන් තුල පාසල් වසා තිබෙන කාලයක අධ්‍යාපනය කඩා නොවැටි එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒට බාධාවක් නොවි ඉදිරියට ගෙනියන්නේ කොයි ආකාරයෙන්ද කියලා. මොන ක්‍රමයකට කරත් පන්තියක කරන ක්‍රමයට කිට්ටු වෙන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි කියලා. හැබැයි අඩුම වශයෙන් අපට ඒට සමාන්තරව යම් වැඩපිළිවෙලක් කළ යුතුයි කියන මතයේ ඉඳගෙන අපි විවිධ දේවල් මම හිතන්නේ අදා බැලුවා. ඒ ක්‍රමවේදයන් ගණනාවක් අපිට යම් සාර්ථකත්වයක් තියෙනවා. පළක් ඒවා අපි තාමත් අත්හදා බලමින් කටයුතු කරමින් යනවා.
Minister Professor G.L. Peris said that a need has arisen to teach children using television, channels and the radio. There are two issues involved in this connection. Those are content preparation and completion of issues relating to subjects.
Content preparation අවසාන වරුදු ඉන්න එපා කිව්වා. සතියක content තිබුණත් වහාම පටන් ගන්න එක. මේකේ urgency එක නිසා. 1100 ගාණක් අවසාන කරලා තියෙනවා. හදලා තියෙනවා.
State Minister Susil Premajayantha said that since October of last year, more than 200 adults have been convened to the National Education Institute and engaged in measures to provide primary and secondary educational programs with the cooperation of principals of leading national schools. Secretary to the Ministry of Mass Media, Jagat P. Vijayveera, representatives of the Sri Lanka Electronic Broadcasters Forum and heads of media institutions took part in the meeting.
And meanwhile, Minister of Finance Basil Rajapaksa has met ambassadors of 6 countries, including Japan, Netherlands and Malaysia at the Finance Ministry. The Japanese ambassador told the minister that Japan is willing to extend aid for minor hydropower generation projects, regenerative power programs and also on the second stage of BIA and New Kalani Bridge project. He added that a speedy program will also be implemented for the digital technology in television telecast. The Netherlands ambassador to Sri Lanka, Tanja Gondrich, said that she is happy over the Sri Lanka's COVID-19 vaccination program. She also said that Netherlands is hoped to develop Sri Lanka's seed research and livestock program. The Qatar ambassador Jassin bin Jabbar said that he hopes to follow a free trade policy in several selected fields. Malaysian ambassador Chang Yang Chai said Malaysia has already invested in Sri Lanka's communication projects. The Indonesian ambassador Gista Gura Aridas said that Indonesian investors will be educated on Sri Lanka's investment opportunities. Ambassador of Afghanistan Ashraf Haider said that they expect Sri Lanka's support in training the workforce of their country. The minister said that Sri Lanka hoped to act with mutual understanding in dealing with all countries.
Now, the Deshapremi United National Party says it strongly condemns the efforts to include teachers in agitations by activists of certain teacher unions. Now, the General Secretary of the party, Sudat Heva Patirana, has filed a complaint in this regard to the police headquarters today. He further says that efforts to obstruct the vaccination program equals to pushing the country into a COVID disaster.
කොවිඩ් වසංගත තත්ත්වය නිසා පාසල් වහලා දාලා තියෙනවා. මෙවැනි වාතාවරණයක් යටතේ අහිංසක ඒ සිසු දරුවෝ අධ්‍යාපනය ලැබුණේ ඔන්ලයින් තාක්ෂණය යටතේ. අද ජෝසප් ස්ටාලින් සහ මහින්ද ජයසිංහ ප්‍රමුඛ ඊනියා ගුරු වෘත්තීය සමිති ගෙන යන මේ වෘත්තීය සමිති ත්‍රස්තවාදය නිසා ඒ දරුවන්ගේ අධ්‍යාපනය අහිමි වෙලා තියෙනවා.
Now, Buddhist devotees will be accorded an opportunity to venerate the sacred Chudamanike and the pinnacle of the Sandahirusaya in Anuradhapura from the 8th of next month. The venerated objects will be carried in procession throughout the island for display to the general public. The Perahara is scheduled to commence from the Gangarama Vihara in Colombo. It will reach 48 Viharasthanas covering 18 districts. During its 47-day journey, the Perahara will parade the streets every day from 8:30 am to 6:30 pm. The organizing committee says the devotees are accorded the opportunity to worship the sacred relics at the end of every destination from 6:30 pm to 9:30 pm. The Sandahirusaya is scheduled to be unveiled for veneration next November. Defence Secretary retired General Kamal Gunaratne said at a media briefing yesterday that this meritorious event has been organised in line with strict health guidelines.
And meanwhile, the body of veteran actress Hyacinth Wijeyaratne is reported dead in a road accident, who was handed over today to the Judicial Medical Officer of the Nuwara General Hospital for a post-mortem inquiry. A driver taken into custody in connection with the motor accident was placed under detention till the 3rd of next month. Ms. Hyacinth Wijeyaratne has met with this accident while returning to Colombo from Nuwara this morning in a van after completing a shooting. The vehicle in which she was travelling has gone out of the road and fallen into a precipice of around 200 feet towards the Kotmale Oil near Lindula town in the Hatton Nuwara main road. Officers of the Lindula police station were reported to have arrived at the scene of incident and brought the seriously injured actress to the Lindula Regional Hospital. The Lindula police further says that her passes away while undergoing treatment at the hospital. It adds that, however, the driver of the van has escaped without injury. According to the police, the negligence of the driver has caused the accident. Ms. Hyacinth Wijeyaratne is a versatile artist who have contributed to many cinematic creations, including Bitu Situwam, Karumakkaryo, Tarukamal and Hogana Pokuna. Ms. Wijeyaratne has also extended her dramatic skills to many teledramas, including Dadabima and Nattukaryo. She has also acted in Sita Divanakatha series telecast over the national television. And with that, we conclude tonight's news. Join us tomorrow at the very same time. Stay safe. Good night.
Good night.